sure today is Saturday, the 19th of April. Welcome here into the Gold Coast. It is Friday, the 18th of April back in California. Glad you're here with us. We're about to begin our weekly investigation of Master Empty Cloud's picture biography. So I'm going to ring our bell 3 times and invite you all to make 3 half bows from wherever you are sitting. Then we will ask our friends, our Dharma friends from Vietnam to do the Dharma request. Kanvu and Bu Tui are going to do our Dharma request today. So let's begin with 3 half bows. Please join me. Here we go. Yi Wen Xun, Cai Wen Xun, Sam Wen Xun, all right. Kanvu and Bui Tui, if you'd like to request Dharma, please go ahead and do it now.
Amitabha.
Amitabha. Cùng chính ta tớ sống tình, vì sư phao huệ di y dễ rộng sân, trình chuẩn mèo pha luân giao đạo của mình, rủ hơ leo sân tu sư lý cú tờ lờ, su chân của sân.
Will the Sangha with great virtue out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings return the wonderful Dharma will to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo sadanto suchedoye olahudi samya samputoshe.
Namo Sarato Socheroje Alahari Samyo Samputoche.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, is encountered even in billions of eons, but now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. All right, thank you so much. Kanvu, Bui Tui, all the way from Vietnam. We appreciate your Dharma request. We would like to respectfully acknowledge the Kombumeri people of the Ugambi language region as traditional storytellers and custodians of the land where the monastery is located. We pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. All righty, let's see here. OK， 就说如果各位你们愿意听一种流利的普通话的翻译呢，你们的软件的控制板的右下角有一个叫interpretation， 是不是？那你就 click 按到那里就有 Chinese， 就可以听到国语啊。If you would like to hear a Vietnamese translation of my lecture today, we have a hardworking, kind-hearted Vietnamese translator who's taking the words that I say in English and translating them into Chinese. And if you would like to request Dharma yourself in the future, look into the chat box there. There'll be an email address you can contact our fearless recording secretary, Chen Yu. She'll be happy to get you set up. OK， 我们恭敬地承认于冈北语族的贡布玛丽人，他们是这个寺院所在地的传统叙事者和守护人。我们向过去、现在和未来的长者们致敬，并且向所有从来没有放弃主权的第一民族的原住民也致敬。All right, here's our bell song. This gets us ready to hear the Dharma. Here we go. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 100 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sounds that everywhere fill the Dharma realm with peace. May those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. 众生传3000劫内，佛法扬万亿国中，共训其法界和平，第一宝他诺后者。Alrighty, there we go. That's all our preparation. Thank you all for joining me again. Who is this on my desktop? This is Master Empty Cloud. This is Xuyun Lecture. He, in the picture, how old is he? In the picture, he is 118 years old. Imagine, 118 years old. Now, we are telling the stories around his picture biography. This is a book that Master Xuyun Lecture compiled based on the life of Master Empty Cloud. Oh my goodness. If you have 120 years of life, you have many stories to choose from, right? So Master Xuyun found 200 stories from the life of Master Empty Cloud and put them into a book. And he found an illustrator, he found an artist in Hong Kong who created 200 illustrations, painting or drawing the story told in the 200 episodes out of 120 years of life. So Master Hua then went on and wrote a verse to accompany each episode. So we have the story, the drawing, and then we have a special verse. And every week we go through 2 or 3 of those stories. So that's what we're about. And let me also say welcome to everybody who has joined us today from all over the world. We have friends in Shandong, friends in Poland, friends in Malaysia, Singapore, Sydney, California, Colorado, Campbell, California, Ukiah, California, Montreal, Canada, Thailand, excellent, Alameda, Malaysia, Kansas, New York City. Congratulations on the performance, Liz. Let's see, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Mesa, Arizona, Calgary, Canada, Hanoi, Vietnam, Oklahoma, all over the world. And then from China, every province in China. So, welcome, all of you. Glad you're here. Let's take a look at our story today. What is going on? The year is what? The year is 1900. Master Empty Cloud is 61 years old. This is the first half of his life. Imagine, he's 61. Many people at age 61 would say, oh, this is the autumn, I'm getting old now. Nope, it's the first half. So, what is he doing? He is on Zhongnanshan. Last week, we saw, here he was. Last week, we heard the story of living as a hermit, living alone. Zhongnanshan. There are a few other hermits up there with him, but they see each other every few months, maybe even longer. They don't see each other's face because they like to live alone. That's what it means to be a hermit. Life is very, very simple there. You have water if you can find it. You have food if you can find it. You go out and eat pine nuts off trees. Maybe you can grow 地瓜, and you eat 地瓜叶, and you eat 松子, and you grow 芋头, if you can make it grow. Here he is, a farmer up in the mountains all by himself. 自立自给, 自力更生. That's what they do. So that was where he is. Now, winter. Winter has come. Are we ready? Okay, here's the story. Don't have to put our palms together because this is not the Buddha's words, this is a story. 冬至，青山老人嘱咐长安事务，反是大雪。上山至新茅棚，石壁悬崖间，多雪窟中，哎呦！大号救命！救命！进棚一拳上人来救，衣内外湿，将夜恐雪封山，连夜拨雪归。一群士见公狼狈，吃不饥，笑汉之，反度岁。Okay, wow, what's this all about? A lot of drama, a lot of excitement. During the winter, the master called on the elder master Qingshan, Blue Mountain, who asked him, please go to Chang'an for supplies. On the way back, the master encountered a blizzard as he climbed the mountain. Snow. Nearing the new hut, he walked off an overhanging precipice and fell into a snow crevice. By shouting loudly, he brought Dharma Master Yi Chuan from his nearby hut to save him, to his rescue. The master's clothing was drenched and night was falling, but fearing that the snow would make the mountain trail impassable, he kept on going through the night. Can you imagine? He finally reached Dharma Master Qingshan's hut despite the snow. Dharma Master Qingshan saw the master's disheveled appearance. He laughed at him and said he was useless. The master smiled and returned to his hut to pass the new year. Oh my goodness. Lots of levels here. Okay, what's the picture? The picture is one monk is saving another monk from a snow cavern. Notice the weather, snow and ice from the tree branches, snow on the mountains. Here's a hut back in the background. And one monk has fallen in to the cave and he had to shout, save me. Luckily, life and death. He was heard by his neighbor monk who came running and with a long stick pulled him out of the snow cave. Otherwise, that would have been the end. That would have been the end of his life, right? Okay. Now, as we know, there's another document called the Nianpu, Master Empty Cloud's own autobiography. So we also have a copy of that, and here's the other story. Okay, what was going on? Well, let me tell you the background. I'll put this away for now. This is the time of the Boxer Rebellion in China, Yihetuan. And things are very chaotic. It's a civil war in China. And the Cixi Taiho, the Empress Dowager Cixi, has left Beijing with the emperor, with her courtiers, with a military escort of bodyguards, and they came all the way from Beijing to Xi'an. And actually it was called Chang'an at that time. And so then they went further. They went out beyond the Great Wall to try to find some peace and security. Well, guess what happened? They discovered that the rain had not fallen in Shanxi province out there for 2 or 3 years. And because China, at the time, so many people were farmers, they depended upon what they could grow for their food to eat. So as a result, because of no rain, there's no crops. As a result of no crops, there's starvation and famine, widespread starvation. People were dying of hunger. So at one point, there was a monk who saw Master Empty Cloud coming with Her Majesty and said, "Oh, Xuyun Lecture." His name back then was De Qing. He said, "Oh, please, Qiu Yu, please do the ceremony praying for rain," they said. So Master Empty Cloud, of course, if the Lao Baixing are starving because of no food, he wants to help. So he did the Buddhist ceremony for Qi Yu. It involves putting up pai wei with the names of the dragon kings, Long Wang, So Jie Luo, Long Wang, and De Jia Long Wang, all of the names of the famous dragons, and asking them to please influence the weather and let the rain fall. So Master Empty Cloud did that at Wolong-Si, and then quietly slipped away. He left the empress, he left the group, and came to Zhongnanshan. Now, Zhongnanshan, there's lots of hermits. It's a safe place for monks if you can stand it, if you can endure the haoku. Oh, there's very little food, there's no shelter, there's just rock buildings. You have to be able to endure 那个辛苦横. If you can do that, you can survive. So there is a monk who the word comes out to Zhongnanshan that the who is the one? Let's see here. The Fa Ren Fa Shi has run into the same kind of difficulties that Master Empty Cloud had. He wants to come to Zhongnanshan. So they're looking for a place to house him. Master Empty Cloud looks at the Di Li, the feng shui of that place, and says, it's not good feng shui. There's going to be trouble here. All right? So we're hearing this, because these stories are here, what we're learning is, even though Zhongnanshan is a place where monks go to yin ju, right? They go to be hermits, to live in Jushan. Even there's still a social network. People know each other's stories. They know when things are good. They know when things are bad. And they want to help each other. But even though these are Lao Shuxing, men of great Gong Fu, they still are subject to what's going on in the world around them. And so here is Qingshan Lao Ren, Hunan Lai de 一个大德 Gao Seng. He is the neighbor of Master Empty Cloud. Xuyun Lao Heshang de Gebi Linxu. Now, Gebi, it can be, you can't smell their cooking fire, you can't hear their sound. That's Gebi. It could be half a mile away, but that's for hermits who live, they go out to the mountains to stay away from other people. Even so, there are still, who's there, and if they have trouble or if they need help, to help them. You go and help them. So that's the situation out there. Now, let me show you. I'm going to bring up the map. I'm going to go to maps.google. Here we go. We're going to look for Zhongnan. Let's see here. Zhongnan Shan. Here it is. Zhongnan Mountain is there, and if we look down, here is Xi'an. Let's see here. Here is Zhongnanshan. It's a mountain range, okay? It's not just a mountain. It's a mountain range. And Xi'an, which then was known as Chang'an, is here. Here's the big city. Chang'an is a really big Chinese city right now. And we're talking about 1900, so this is 125 years ago. Look at how big Xi'an is. It's a major city, lots of trains, lots of airplanes. It's the jumping off place for everything in Western China. And so now, in today's story, the old monk Qingshan says to Master Empty Cloud, I need some supplies. I'm too old, bu fangbian. Could you please go to Chang'an for me? I need some stuff. Master Empty Cloud, what does he do? He doesn't say no. He goes down the mountain all the way into Chang'an to get supplies for Master Qingshan. This is if you're in a vehicle, if you have an RV or a Jeep or an electric car, you can do this in a couple hours. But if you're on foot, you have to go down the Rocky Mountain path into the city, buy the things you need or get them from other monasteries, perhaps. You go to the Kufang in the monastery and get clothing or blankets or cooking pots, whatever you need, and then turn around and go back up the mountain to deliver what the old monk requested. Okay? That's the situation. Let's see what the Nianpu says. Here we go. This is from last week. The visitors, let's see here. 中心里看得到吗？够大吗？ Let's see, a little bit bigger here. Okay. There we go. So the other monks bowed, ate their taro, and sent me back to Po Shi Shan. Yue Xia said, 吃山老人眼饭. He said, the monk Chishan has got some trouble. He is now explaining the Fa Hua Jing at Guiyuan Si, Yu Lai Bei Di. He wants to come out to where we are. He wants to escape, right? 特殊先来寻地. We have come to look for a place for him. Okay, so they went out, they looked at a place, and we said this last week. Empty Cloud goes, so he said, 此非善地. This is not a good place. That comment, from that comment we know this is the setup for what's to follow. There are troubles ahead, but because this monk is escaping the chaos in the capital, he's going to settle in a place with bad feng shui. That's the undercurrent. That's what do they say? The subtext of the story. Okay, so here is today's story. 冬至 Qingshan Lao Ren fu wo Chang'an shi wu. I went to Chang'an on behalf of Master Qingshan, the elder monk. Shi bi shi da shui. I got my business settled, but I had to come back, and you know what? Big storm. Snowstorm. So Master Empty Cloud has to travel the mountain path in a snowstorm. Shangshan zhi xin maopeng. So I came up the trail and I got to the new hut built for Qingshan. Xia shi bi xuan yan jian duo xue ku zhong. There was a cliff side and an overhanging. There was a rock cliff overhanging, and in order to get around it, I made one misstep, and I fell into a snow cave. Da hao, I shouted, and luckily there was a neighbor close by, Yi Chen, who came, 救我出 and pulled me out of the snow cave. Oh boy. So Master Empty Cloud, maybe he walks too fast. I don't know. He fell into the river. He fell into the Jiangzi River on his way to the Chan session. Now he's fallen into the snow cave. Ayo. So, yi nei wai jie shi. My clothes were sopping wet, inside and outside. I was drenched from my falling into the snow cave. Not to mention cold, right? 且将入夜. Nian Ming xue dang feng shan. He's carrying supplies for Master Qing Shan, but he hears the weather forecast that the snow is going to continue. It's going to cover the trail. There will be no traffic up and down the mountain starting tomorrow. So, what does that mean? He's got to go now. Does he have a change of clothes? Can he put on his down jacket? Can he put on his thick socks and his gloves? Sorry, no such thing. He's got to keep walking in his soaking wet clothes in the night, or else he won't get to the cabin of the Maopeng of Master Qingshan before the snow closes the trail. He keeps going through the night. This monk is tough, right? Meijing, Cheng Ye, Bo Xue. So it's feared that there'll be no way to get up there. So he goes through the night and he breaks his way through the snow like a Saint Bernard to get to hand over the goods that he is carrying as a favor to the old monk. The old monk sees him and he sees that I'm looking maybe a little bit disheveled from my going up and down the mountain to Chang'an on his behalf. And he, 度位不及事. He says, oh, I guess look at you. You arrived kind of untidy. 笑含之. He laughs at me. So what do? I just laugh back. Smile, respond, nod my head, say, 阿弥陀佛老师傅, 阿弥陀佛. I smiled in reply, right? A gentle smile. There's a lot unspoken there. You could say, what an ungrateful old so-and-so, right? I'm doing him a favor and he criticizes me for showing up maybe a little late, maybe wet. Okay, you know how there's an English Chengyu that says, no good deed goes unpunished. The more you try to help people, the more they criticize. So that's the unspoken part. So Master Empty Cloud goes home, returns down the trail before the snow closes it, and finishes out the year. Okay. Now, there's one advantage to this Nianpu, which is it includes a listing of the important events, the global events that happened. In this case, 10年大事, what happened this year? 义和团起, the boxers got stronger, 联合攻陷金境. So the combined armies of the 8 countries took Tianjin and Beijing, the two major cities. Okay, so the boxers ultimately were defeated. Okay, whew, that's quite a story. Now, Shifu's verse in reply to Master Empty Cloud falling into the snow cave, what does he say? 为人服务多学苦，反被呵斥不计图，任劳任怨任道远，正胜正果正祖师. When the master was doing someone a favor, he fell into a snowy hollow. Upon his return, he was mocked and called a useless monk. He tolerated toil and criticism. His mission required patient sacrifice. he realized the fruition of sagehood, proving himself a patriarch. Okay. Oh my goodness. Now, interestingly, Shifu Master Hua picked this story out to illustrate, to put in the picture biography. Now, at Gold Mountain Monastery, people assume that if you had the opportunity to learn directly from a real teacher, if you had a true 真正善知识, a 大善知识 around you, it must have been quite wonderful. It must have been very like living in heaven, you know, to have a true good and wise advisor. I am here to tell you that often we had a phrase, Shifu blasted you, that we would say that. And what does that mean? It means that a true Shanzhishu uses all kinds of methods to teach different living beings. There is the zhe fu fa, and there is the she shou fa. The zhe fu fa is subduing method, and the she shou is the gathering in. If you are a hard-headed, stubborn, greedy young American hippie, often you needed a teaching method that was a little stronger than normal. So frequently, Shifu would use his blasting method to teach you. If you were a wise and kind and virtuous disciple who needed some adjusting, the Shanzhishu came gentle, kind, very expedient, very soft touch. So we young Americans heard a lot of zhefu, we heard a lot of blasting methods, techniques. Now, what I had to learn was, and Shifu told me that I had the thickest skin, lian pi ho ho, he said. So I got taught harder than many other disciples, being very stubborn and arrogant. So people told me, after Shifu would scold me often, they said, oh, Shifu is panzi chenglong. He said, he is using, this is the teacher who is testing you to see how your patience is. He's testing your patience. Don't feel like he's being harsh because he doesn't like you. This is his technique to bring out your virtue. So, are we able to use Ren Ru Bo Lo Mi? Here's the idea. If you are virtuous and someone scolds you without a reason, if you can endure it, it builds your virtue from the reverse. This happened to Master Empty Cloud. Look at this. Ren Lao Ren Yuan. Ren Dao Yuan, right? If you can be patient when people criticize you, if you can be patient when under a lot of toil, it increases your virtue, and this is actually the path to sagehood. The thing to be afraid of in this way of understanding is to be afraid that people are going to praise you. Often if you hear sweet words, praise and gentle language, it is not necessarily a good thing. It may be the case that someone is jealous of you and is setting you up to fall. So it's important to recognize that praise often hides a knife, and harsh words are often the very best thing for developing your character. It depends on you being able to recognize that. That is Ren Ru Bo Lo Mi. You become accomplished through the good and wise advisor's criticism. Okay? It's exactly the opposite of what ordinary people prefer. Most of us, of course, love to hear sweet words of praise, but that may not be the best thing. Here, Master Empty Cloud is getting scolded by this monk whom he is helping. And in fact, the monk, if he were seeing things correctly, would say, "Oh my goodness, you went all that way on my behalf. You nearly died coming back up. You decided against safety warnings to take the path during a snowfall to deliver my goods. Oh, you are so kind to me. Thank you so much. I am so grateful for your service." He didn't hear anything like that. Instead, he heard criticism. What does Shifu say? 正圣正果正祖师. This is how Master Hua taught us at Gold Mountain, was often he would find a fault, 挑你的老毛病, and use that and criticize you to see if you could endure it. If instead, if Shifu said, "Oh, where's the mail? The mail's late today. Why did you bring the mail late?" If you said to Shifu, "Shifu, that's not my job, that's his job," Shifu would say, "Oh, no problem. Okay. If when Shifu criticized you for something that you did not do, and you were able to go, Shifu, I don't know, I'll try harder to get you your mail. Let me go look for it." Shifu would say, "Pass," he would say in English. 过得去, 经得起考验, 一切是考验, 看你怎么办. 对面若不是, 须再从头练. Everything's a test to see what you will do. Mistaking what's before your eyes, you have to start anew, he would say. But if you 对面如果认识, 经得起考验, okay, then you go on to a bigger test later on. So this is Master Empty Cloud's test. He passes. 经得起考验. 不换火. He didn't get angry in response to being criticized. He passed his test. 正圣正果正祖师, right? Very difficult, very different from the way ordinary people understand praise and blame. All right, there we go. Okay, now we have one of the most amazing stories in the entire picture biography. This particular episode number 123, this is something very unusual. Are you ready? Let's take a look. This story, of all the stories, stands like Manjushri saving Master Empty Cloud. This is one of those stories that when you hear it, you never forget. Ready? 入定半月一两年. Entering samadhi for 2 weeks over the turning of the year. He is now 62 or 63. It's 1901, 1902, the winter of both those years. It is Guangshu 27, 28年. He is 62 going to 63 years old. The dynasty, the Qingchao, 最后10年, right? 1911 was the founding of the 那个中华民国. Okay, here we go. 辛丑62岁, 法人老人率众至, 后遇土人设送拜, 回南盖风水故业, 岁近一日, 主欲代首, 复作定去, 人吟63, 临棚复成师等, 亚公不至, 王贺年, 见胡姬遍满, 入见公定, 以庆开镜, 问以是否. In the Master's 62nd year, Elder Master Faren, you remember he was the one who came with the bad feng shui. He arrived with his entourage. He got involved in a civil suit, which he lost before returning south. This was because of the poor feng shui in the area. One day, near the end of the year, while waiting for the taro to cook, Master Xuyun sat in the lotus posture and entered samadhi. The next year, the master, notice now we go to the next year, the master was 63 years old. Dharma Master Fuchang and other hermits from the neighboring huts were surprised to see that Master Empty Cloud had not come out to say, 过年新喜, 新年吉祥, etc. They saw tiger tracks around the hut. They were worried. They entered the hut. They saw that Master Empty Cloud was sitting in meditation. They rang a small bell. They brought him out of samadhi and politely asked, had he eaten yet? Okay? You understand the implications of this. He crossed his legs and entered samadhi and did not move for weeks. Here he is. Okay, these are the neighboring monks who saw, they hadn't seen him for a while. They saw tiger tracks and they worried, maybe he's been eaten by a tiger. So they ring the bell and he opens his eyes, and the story goes, he says, oh, you've come, good, right on time, let's have some yutou. And they lift the lid of the pot, and in the pot, the yutou has grown mold an inch thick. They ask him, when did you put the yutou on to cook? And he says, just half an hour ago. And they say, you've been sitting for weeks, unmoving. The verse says, 玉在釜中度已熟，岂是没长引村株，种芽入定近半月，烹学煮鱼饱消乎。The cooking taro in the pot was already done long ago. When the pot was opened, the taro inside had grown an inch of mold. He'd been in samadhi for half a month. The others were jingya, taken aback. Drinking melted snow and cooking taro, they were perfectly content. So after he came out of samadhi, they ate some fresh taro in the pot. Oh my goodness. All right, now here's the thing. When you imagine a monk meditating for 2 weeks without moving, everybody wonders, the first question they ask is, how did he go to the bathroom? Right? That's what they want to know. The next thing they want to know is did he drink? Did he eat? How could he do that? How could he stay unmoving? Those are normal questions. In America, we just had a Senator Cory Booker, who on the floor of the American Senate spoke for 25 hours without stopping, without going to the bathroom. And his talk was very eloquent, but all the questions were, did he not go to the bathroom for 25 hours? That's what everybody wants to know. Same for Master Empty Cloud. With Senator Booker, apparently, he says he prepared by not eating or drinking for a couple days before. So he was able to make it through without having to go. But as soon as he finished talking, nature called, of course. So now, Master Empty Cloud, how do you sit in samadhi for all that time without moving? And the quick answer would be, of course, it's because his mind was not moving. His false thinking was not moving. Okay? So, oh my goodness, that's so interesting. How could you do that? How could somebody enter samadhi like that? Okay. Here is the story. 去岁暮入定不知时日，山中林棚复称时等。 鸦欲久不至，来茅棚贺年，见棚外虎迹遍满，无人阻击。入室，见我在定中，乃以轻声静问曰：已是否？曰：没有。欲在福度一手吧？发誓之，以眉高村，许见病而如实。复称鸦曰：你一定已半月矣。So 相遇彭雪猪肴猪鱼包餐而去。复是去后不数日，远近僧俗，先来试语，宴欲酬答，乃消顿一见行礼 ，right？ my Chinese is breaking up here. 又向万里无村草去出去。Okay, this is the full story afterwards, right? Which is that not only did they see that the yuto had grown mold an inch long, the water in the pot had turned to ice. Not only was it not boiling and ready to eat like it would be after half an hour, he had sat there for 2 weeks. 半月. Okay? So, how amazing. Truly the work of a sage who is very unusual. Very unusual. Okay. So what does this do for your understanding of how people can order their lives, right? This is a story of someone who is truly Ru Ding, someone who has entered samadhi, who has control over their body. Lai Ming Qu Bai. If you need proof of someone who has control over Lai and Qu coming and going, here it is. For most of us, if we can sit with our legs crossed for an hour, that's already extraordinary to endure the discomfort of sitting for an hour. But if you then extend that for 24 hours times 12, times 14, 2 weeks, oh my goodness, how could you do it? So this is someone who is already a 过来人, someone who has subdued themselves 克己复礼 and returned to principle. Extraordinary. 克己复礼. Here he is. He can be happy in meditating. He can be happy without meditating. Doesn't matter. Not turned by external circumstances. 不被外缘所动. Okay? 能转境界不容易. What would it be like? Well, let's look at Ted Berger's movie. Remember from last week? We have, here we go. Amongst White Clouds, The Mountain Path, Ted Berger's film. Let's take a look.
Because I'm hungry for the wisdom and guidance of my teacher. They say a good teacher can truly see you, but a powerful teacher can help you to truly see yourself.
一个好师傅能认识你，那么真正的善知识能让你看你自己了。
有点师傅是师弟。
See me building the fire?
哎，师傅，来，
看我做过。
陈宇说说。对。
这个是广宽法师，他把 TED 那个相机就来录这个录音师， 他就把那个相机反过来了，他要让这个 Ted 认识他自己了。本来 Ted 这个记者，他要录影给师傅录，现在是那个师傅在录弟子。
拍人民做面。那不就休息了？
从原件开始好啊。那个你看这个啥，西炒菜。
他们不是住芋头，不过同一个终南山。我上个礼拜有机会问那个 Ted， 就是这个记者那个导演，问他他那个广宽法师的地方离虚老和尚的地方，我们现在读到的远不远？他说还要再近，大概1个英里，因为终南山比较宽比较长，所以这些那个隐士啊，他们的真的不是隔壁的啊，他们就各有各的地方。Master Empty Cloud's Maupong was further in Zhongnanshan. 这是广宽法师还有 Ted Berger。
We've met back up with our trail guide. He's taking us to meet a hermit we've been hearing a lot about. He lives in a brick hut down in the valley, and many people say he's a highly realized practitioner.
他就说，他们听说终南山有一个隐士，他也证过，他住的地方用 brick 来红砖做的。他住在山谷。
A man everyone looks up to.
他说，这个山中所有的人很尊敬这个老修行，可是还没有见面，他不开门。
He is a hermit amongst hermits, a meditator amongst meditators. He won't open his gate, some warned. And sure enough, when we got there, his gate was locked up tight.
这个人是真正修行人他不给你开门了。
师傅，你想怎么样？我们应该等他回来吗？或者他大概去哪儿？到哪儿去？
Turns out he was inside the whole time, sitting meditation.
他怎么样？他在里边打坐。
Finally, the gate did open, and we were greeted warmly.
你喝开水。
喝可以。
喝开水，喝了开水再说。
谢谢。
He says, "Have some tea." Every cup 茶叶，几个叶子，不浪费。That green thermos, that's very common. That's a Chinese thermos. 一个热水瓶嘛，很普遍。温水壶。
师傅，您在这山上有几年了
How long have you been here?
我几年。
Not too many years, he
我
said.
几年。
Not
没
long.
几年。
是谦虚是。
So, can you imagine Master Empty Cloud's face when he came out of samadhi? he might have looked a little like this elder.
您是陕西人吗？
我是河南的，
河南的。你在河南出家了吗？
我不是在山西出的家，这个江西啊，在江西出家。你到云林山去过吧？
没有。
在江西云林山。
那你为什么来终南山？
为什么？那我也知道为什么。
He says, why did you come to Zhongnanshan? He says, I'd like to know that one too. And that's a good question.
你说为什么呢？
Why did you come here? He says. Very funny. Okay, I'll leave it here. But just to let you know, this is today here at Gold Coast Dharma Realm is the closing of our Lianghong repentance liturgy, and they're going to start up in 5 minutes, so we have to move on. But I know people are really happy to see the faces, to know that the tradition is continuing, the tradition of cultivators on Zhongnanshan, just the way Master Empty Cloud was 125 years ago. So we'll conclude now. We'll do one recitation of Medicine Buddha's mantra to dedicate merit. Please send out a wish, however you would like to dedicate your merit, and we'll see you all next week for more exciting, incredible stories of our grand teacher, Master Empty Cloud. Okay, please, palms together, make a wish. Here we go. We'll do it one time. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaisajya Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagataaya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Yata Aisaje Aisajya Samgate Swaha. And then we will bow to the Buddha. Here we go. 我们向观音菩萨行三摩巡礼。One bow, 2 bows, 3 bows. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Alrighty, that'll do it for us for today. See you all next week, everybody. Amitofo. Bye now.